Hi class, I'm just here to correct the homework on area and perimeter. So here are the questions. So the first one here, we have some irregular shapes here and we have to find the area of each of these shapes. So to find the area of these shapes, what we need to do is split them up into rectangles. So let's look at the first one here. I'm going to split this up into two rectangles. So if I draw a line across there, I have a rectangle that is 2 by 3 and I have another rectangle that is 2 by 8. So first of all, I'm going to get the area of this rectangle. So the area of the smaller rectangle, that's the 2 by 3 one, 2 and 3. The area of that is length by breadth, which is 2 by 3, which is 6 centimeters squared. Okay, 6 centimeters squared. Don't forget the squared there. That's the unit of area. And the second one then, the area of the second one, let's do a little small sketch of it here. It's 8 is the length, 2 is the width. So the area is length by breadth, which is 2 by 8, which is 16 centimeters squared. And this is how I'd like to see you laying out your work and showing your workings. So that's 16 centimeters squared. So the total area is equal to 6 plus 16, which is 22 centimeters squared. So what we've done here is we've taken an irregular shape, we've divided it up into rectangular shapes, we find the area of each rectangle, and then we add them together. Okay, now let's look at the second one. So the second one here is another irregular shape, but I can divide it up into two rectangles. And the best way to do this is by drawing along this line here. Now we've a little bit of working out to do here because I know the length and breadth of this rectangle. It's 5 by 9. So let's just do that first. I have 5 and 9. So the area A is equal to 5 multiplied by 9, which is 45 centimeters squared. However, the second rectangle, okay, so this rectangle here, I don't know what the length of this is. I know what the breadth of it is, but this length, 14 centimeters, that goes the whole way across, and I only need this length here. So I'm going to have to do a subtraction, okay? The length of this portion of the line is given by 14 take away 5. Okay, so 14 take away 5, and that's going to be equal to 9. So the length of that section there is 9. So now I can go ahead and get my second area. So I have a rectangle that has a length of 7 and a width of 9, and that's going to give me an area of 7 by 9, which is 63 centimeters squared. So this one was 45, this one was 63, and the total area will be those two added together. 45 plus 63, now you can do it on your calculators if you're not sure. The answer is 108 centimeters squared. Okay, now we have the next question, question 5. And here we need to look at a rectangle inside a rectangle. So you would have seen one of these examples in my previous video. Let's work on it. So I have a rectangle inside a rectangle. The first part of the question is find the area of the larger rectangle. Okay, so I'm going to do that for part 1 first. And in part 1, I have the area of the larger rectangle, that's the blue one, or the greeny blue one, is going to be 11 multiplied by 7, which is 77 centimeters squared. Okay. Now, the area of the smaller rectangle for part 1, so the small rectangle, is given by 2 multiplied by 5, which is 10 centimeters squared. And then it says, by subtracting the two areas, find the area of the coloured region. So when I found the area of the larger rectangle, okay, I was finding the area, look, of all of this. All of that is 77. Okay, all of that is 77. Then I found the area of the smaller rectangle. And if I subtract that from the larger one, it's going to give me the area of just the shaded region. So that's why I have to do a subtraction. So let's do that. So area, sorry, this is part C for the first diagram. So the area of the shaded region, I get that by taking 77 and subtracting 10 from it, and I get 67 centimetres squared. Now let's do all of this for part 2. So I want to get the area of the larger rectangle. So that's going to be area is length by breadth, which is 1 multiplied by 1.2. And 1 multiplied by anything, it stays as it is. It's 1.2 metres squared. Then the smaller rectangle. Now this is tricky. Watch this now. We have a larger rectangle here. It's not a square, it's a rectangle. We have a larger rectangle here that is 1 metre by 1.2 metres. So the dimensions are in metres, the lengths are in metres. But my smaller rectangle here is in centimetres. Okay, now I don't want to be dealing with 2 different types of units. I need to deal with 1 unit only. So before I get the area of this smaller rectangle, what I need to do is I need to change the units. So I'm going to redraw the smaller rectangle in here. But instead of writing 70 centimetres and 80 centimetres, I'm going to convert to metres. So this is where your conversions that come into play. What is 70 centimetres in metres? It's 0.7. And 80 centimetres is 0.8 metres. And now I can get the area of the smaller rectangle, and my answer will be in metres squared, the same as my first part of my question. Okay, so 0.7, sorry, I should start off by writing down what I'm finding. It's the area. The area is length by breadth, which is 0.7 multiplied by 0.8. 7 eighths are 56. Now it's not 5.6 is your answer. It's 0.56. So make sure that you do that in your calculator so you don't make any mistakes. So 0.56 metres squared. Okay, and the last part of the question then is by subtracting these 2 areas, find out what the area of the shaded region is. So the same as before, I'm going to say the area of the shaded region will be the larger area, 1.2 metres squared. Take away the smaller area, which was 0.56 metres squared. And that is, when you do that on your calculator, it should be 0.64 metres squared. And make sure you pause this video at any stage if you need to look back over anything or hear it explained again. So this is a lovely question because it's really where you're working backwards, okay? You're given the perimeter or you're given the area and you have to find out what the length or the breadth of it is. So let's first of all model this one. So my suggestion here is that you draw this first. So the first one here is a square. Okay, and we know that a square is a rectangular shape, but where all of the lengths are the same. Okay, so the length and the width are both the same. So the perimeter of this square will be L plus L plus L plus L, which is 4 times L. And 4 times L is equal to 36. We're told that the perimeter of this square is 36. So if 4 L's are equal to 36, well then using our algebra, we know if we have 4 times L equals 36 and we want to know what L is equal to, we have to divide both sides by 4. Why? Because whatever is multiplying the L here, 4 times L, we've got to reverse that. So if we divide by 4, that's going to cancel out the 4 on the top. And I'll get L. And 36 divided by 4 is 9. So the length of each side on this square is 9. The second part of this question says find the area of the square. So now I know that each side is 9. Okay, I can say that the area of the square is length by width or breadth. But since the width and the length are the same, I can say it's length by length, or L squared, which is 9 by 9, which is 81 centimetres squared. So 81 centimetres squared is the answer for part B. Okay, so the length of each side is 9 centimetres and the area is 81 centimetres squared. Now let's look at question number 8. So that was question 7. Okay, now I'm going to do question 8. I'm going to zoom out a small bit here to give myself some more space. Question 8 is a rectangle of 72 kilometres squared. So kilometre, as we know, is a much bigger unit of length. We use it to measure the distances between towns, for instance. But again, I'm going to model this, and by modelling, I mean I'm just going to draw it so I can get a picture of what the question is asking me, and then it's easier to think about how you're going to solve it. So just draw a picture of what you're told in the question. You have a rectangle. Its area is 72 kilometres squared. The length of one side of this is 9 kilometres, but we don't know what the width is. We've got to find out what the width is. So I know that area equals length by width. That means that if I fill into this formula, I know what the area is. It's 72 kilometres squared. I know what the length is. It's 9. I don't know what the width is. So I've got to ask myself, 9 multiplied by what gives me 72? Okay, so you can do it that way. You can think about what 9 multiplied by what gives you 72. And I think most of you will think of 8. But the other way to do it is thinking about it in terms of algebra. So 9 multiplied by W is 9W. If I divide both sides by 9, that will cancel the 9 and I'll get W is equal to 72 divided by 9, which is 8. Okay, so that is 8 kilometres. And so that is how to solve this question using algebra. Okay, now the last part of that question is to find the perimeter. So let me just divide off this piece of, let me just divide out this piece of page here so I'll have some space to work. And I'm doing 8 part B, which is the perimeter of the triangle. So the perimeter of the triangle is, perimeter is equal to length plus width plus length plus width, which we know is 2 times the length and 2 times the width. So 2 times the length is 9. 2 times the width is 8, because we found this was 8 kilometres. 2 9s are 18. 2 8s are 16. And when we add these together, we get 34. 34 kilometres. And what that means is, if I was to travel all around the edge of this rectangle, I would travel 34 kilometres. So the last question was this question 10. A rectangular plot of land 320 metres long and 180 metres wide is shown. A rectangular shop is to be built on this land, 130 metres by 85 metres. The rest of the plot will be turned into a car park. All of this is going to be a car park. So find in metres squared the area of the plot of land. So question A is find the area of the plot of land. Area, always write down your formula first. Area is length by width. So the length and width of this plot is 320 multiplied by 180. And now I need to get my calculator out for this one because these are big numbers. But don't be afraid of big numbers because the method is exactly the same and you always have your calculator to help you. So 57,600, and of course my unit is meters squared. That's the area. Okay, next then is the area of the shop. Okay, so area. So that was the area of the land. Okay, this is the area of the shop. And again, it's length by width. Always write down your formula. The length is 130. The width is 85. And 130 multiplied by 85 is 11,050 meters squared. Okay, 11,050. And this entire shape is 57,600. All right, so the area of the car park is going to be the difference between them because when I take away the area of the shop from the entire plot of land, it tells me how much area is left around the shop. So I need to say 57,600 meters squared, take away 11,050 meters squared, and what will be left over? So I'm popping this in my calculator. It's 46,550 meters squared. So that's the area of the car park. Now, the last part of this question required you to do a little bit of revision of your percentages. Planning regulations for the area require that for the shop to be built, its area must be less than 20% of the total area of the plot of land. Does this shop meet the required planning regulations? So is the area 11,050? Is that less than 20% of the entire area, which is 57,600? So I need to know what percentage of 57,600 is 11,050. So I need to turn it into a fraction first of all. So what fraction of the entire plot is the shop taking up? So that's 11,050 divided by 57,600. This is part D. That's it as a fraction, but I need to multiply by 100 over 1 to turn it into a percentage. And when I do that, I get, just popping it in my calculator here now, 11,050 divided by 57,600 gives me 19.18%. So does the shop meet the required planning regulations? Yes. Meets regulations because shop takes up less than 20% of the area. Okay, and when you're asked a question like this, you have to do your calculation and show your workings, but you also need to put in a sentence at the end to explain your answer. You can't assume that the person correcting your work is going to understand your answer. You have to write the sentence to demonstrate that you understand your answer and what it's telling you. Okay, that's it for this one.